You may hear about the Missouri Senate often, but do you ever wonder what's really going on behind the scenes? All of us here have people at home that we are representing. All of us here have matters that we think are serious for the state of Missouri. So we are trying to do things in an orderly fashion, and we cannot continue to have this chaos. I'm Senate Majority Leader Cindy O'Laughlin, and I'm here to give you that honest view of Missouri politics. Thanks for tuning in to our podcast, Hard Truth with Cindy O'Laughlin. Good afternoon. This is Hard Truth with Cindy O'Laughlin. This is a weekly podcast I do to try to update people who either may not be familiar with what's going on in the Senate or maybe have seen it from the outside but really don't understand the actual inner workings. One of the things that we faced this year was the prediction that we would get nothing done. And we did start the year with kind of a lot of delays and demands and sort of conflict. But we have managed to get past that. And this week we've had a good week. A few of the things that we have done. Number one, we have solved a problem with foster children. At least we have passed a bill that will be sent to the House. And what we did was stop the State Department from holding Social Security benefits that really should go directly to the children. So that was the bill of Senator Rader's, and we did pass that, and it's headed to the House. We also lowered taxes for some of our consumers. Not to get too much into detail, but there has been an effort for the last 5 or 6 years to continue to raise fees on services provided to households such as direct TV and streaming services. And we passed a bill that Senator Esslinger sponsored that did away with that. So that too is headed to the House. We also passed a bill which kind of gives business and individuals the ability to appeal to different departments if they feel like regulations are too burdensome. We actually did pass that last year out of the Senate, but it kind of got hung up at the end of the year and didn't quite make it across the finish line. So those are some of the things that we did this week. We won't be back in session until next Tuesday because this weekend is Easter, so we will be off on Monday. We do have big issues coming up. And anybody that's familiar with the Senate realizes that sometimes towards the end of the session, and we only have 7 weeks left, that is sometimes the time that tempers flare and disagreements really start to escalate. So when we come back, one of the first things that we're going to address is a Planned Parenthood amendment. We have spoken to you about that before. Our legislature is very pro-life. We do not want to be funding really any agency that is involved in taking the life of unborn children. So we have at various times put an amendment on the budget, which then was rejected by the courts. And so this year we're going to come back and attempt to pass a standalone statute that would address that. Right after that, we will go to the renewal of the FRA. I spoke to you about that a few weeks ago. That is basically a fee that is levied on nursing homes and hospitals and is used to match money from the federal government. All in all, it results in about $4.5 billion, which are used to support basically medical and long-term care services. There's no way that we don't pass that, but passing the Planned Parenthood statute first is required. So that's something that we'll be addressing pretty quickly after we get back. We will also then move into the budget. The budget is much larger than maybe it's been in the last 10 or 15 years. It's almost double what it usually is. It was this way last year too. Most of that is federal money that is allocated for one-time projects in people's districts. And we believe that this will be pretty close to the end of that, which is why we don't allocate it for something that's reoccurring, finding after the federal money disappears, then we've started something that we can't continue. So the budget this year will be large. There will be one-time projects in it. Starting next year, though, it will start to scale back to what it normally would be. So those are some of the bigger issues that we need to get done. The budget is a balanced budget. The FRA renewal being almost $5 billion is a big piece of that budget. So those things have to be finished fairly quickly. From there, we'll move into other senators' priorities. I have legislation trying to be sure that we continue to have power in the state of Missouri. As I have told you in the past, the move to green energy has resulted in many states being short on power, and I want to be sure that that doesn't happen to us. I have legislation addressing that, and really every senator here has priorities that they would like to see passed. In ending the podcast, I just want to thank all of my fellow senators, if they happen to watch this podcast, for their cooperation. The way that we function best, particularly from my perspective as the floor leader, is for me to be sure that I understand what other senators would like to get done, that I continually communicate with them. If there is an issue, I try to help them resolve it. If they have a legislative proposal that is somehow stuck somewhere, not moving, they're trying to get it on the calendar, I try to help them with that. So my job is to try to keep things running smoothly, try to keep disagreements to a minimum, and wherever I can, help to advance legislation that is beneficial for the state of Missouri and the people that live here. I want to thank you for watching the podcast. I want to wish each of you a blessed Easter. I hope you enjoy it with your family, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Hard Truth with Cindy O'Laughlin.